Did you know Sukuna's domain is actually modeled after a kitchen? Or that his tattoos have hidden meanings? Here are 21 secrets you probably didn't know about Sukuna. Starting off with the fact that Sukuna's name is actually fake. Crazy, I know! Ryomen Sukuna isn't actually his real name. It was a title given to him by sorcerers during the Heian era. But that's not the only title he's been given. In chapter 30 of the manga, Mahito even calls him the Honored One, just like Gojo calls himself several chapters later. Interestingly, throughout the series, Sukuna has never once referred to himself as Sukuna, keeping his real name a secret. And while Ryomen Sukuna might not be his actual name, it has some hidden meanings. Take Ryomen, for example. It translates to two-faced or double-sided in Japanese, which is an obvious reference to Sukuna's infamous two faces and four arms, which kind of begs the question, why does he look like four arms from Ben 10? Well, it is actually because he ate his twin brother while they were inside their mother's womb, hence gaining his brother's body parts and cursed energy. This act made his parents not love him so much, abandoning him in the process, which is super sad. But let's move from a sad secret to a very creepy one. Did you know Sukuna's favorite food is actually people? Crazy, I know. But it gets even crazier, cause in the official Jujutsu Kaisen fanbook, it's mentioned that Sukuna not only eats people, he actually enjoys cooking them too. Problem is, he's not exactly a good chef, so Uraume, who is an expert at cooking people, helps him out, which is just insane to think about. But an even more insane secret would be the mystery behind Urame's gender. Most fans believe Urame is a girl, but after doing some research, I found out she wasn't. Back in the Heian era, Urame was originally male. However, due to a contract he made with Kenjaku, he was reincarnated in a female's body named Himi Shiori. Now let's talk about this little secret about Sukuna's fingers. While they look super creepy, they actually taste soapy. According to the official Jujutsu Kaisen fanbook, Gege revealed that Sukuna's fingers have a soap-like taste, which actually makes sense, since they're coated in a substance called grave wax, which is equally known as adipocere in real life. It was used to preserve his mummified body for over 1,000 years, which is just crazy. But an even crazier secret is the fact that Sukuna isn't actually a cursed spirit. According to the Jujutsu Kaisen fanbook, Gege revealed that Sukuna was once a human Jujutsu sorcerer. Over time, he transformed into a cursed object, but that's not all, cause back when he was human, Sukuna never had a wife or kids. He only had his loyal servant, Uraume. However, in the latest manga chapter, we catch a hint that Sukuna might have had a potential love interest, though we never got the full story. Classic Gege. And while we're on the topic of Sukuna's relationships, let's quickly talk about his hatred for Yuji. Sukuna despises Yuji so much that he's never once called him by his real name, even though he calls both Gojo and Megumi by theirs. He only ever refers to Yuji as brat. But why exactly does Sukuna hate Yuji? You see, it goes deeper than just annoyance. Sukuna despises everything Yuji stands for, like his determination and compassion, which he sees as signs of weakness. As someone who believes only in power and control, Sukuna finds Yuji's resistance and moral ideals insulting. Moving on to this weird secret about Sukuna's kimono. If you go all the way back to episode 4 of the anime, when Sukuna unleashes his domain expansion for the first time, you will notice he's wearing a kimono. At first glance, it seems normal, but in Japan, that style of kimono is traditionally made for women. So why does Sukuna wear it? Well, it's because in his previous life, it actually gave him more room for all four of his arms. Plus, it looks super cool on him. Speaking of cool, let's talk about this cool secret I found in season 2. During Sukuna and Mahoraga's fight, Sukuna compares Mahoraga's abilities to a legendary being called Yamata no Orochi. In Japanese, Yamata no Orochi translates to a giant snake with 8 heads. The 8 heads refer to the 8 wheels on Mahoraga's head, while the giant snake is a nod to Mahoraga's snake-like tail. But that's not all, because according to Japanese folklore, this being also possessed a sword-like weapon, which closely resembles Mahoraga's sword of extermination. But that's not the only secret I found in season 2, because if you skip to the part where Sukuna uses his domain expansion against Mahoraga, he calls it Malevolent Kitchen instead of Malevolent Shrine, as it was translated in the manga. But why is that? Well, in Japanese, Sukuna's domain is named Fukuma Mizushi, where Mizushi can both mean shrine and kitchen. So instead of a shrine, the anime hints that Sukuna's domain is like an infernal kitchen where he cooks up his sinister techniques. Even his cleave and dismantle attacks echo the precise cuts of a chef, showing that Sukuna isn't just a sorcerer, he's a twisted chef. Speaking of Sukuna's domain, did you know it isn't actually called Malevolent Shrine? Crazy, right? In chapter 217, Yorozu reveals the true name of Sukuna's domain as Mizushi, which translates simply to shrine. However, the official translation by Viz Media, handled by John Uweri, renders it as Malevolent Shrine. Did you know that Sukuna's domain actually has a barrier? Crazy, right? Malevolent Shrine uses what's called an open barrier, a rare advanced form of domain expansion. Unlike typical domains that trap targets in a closed space, Sukuna's domain spreads out, unleashing his sure hit effect over a massive 200-meter radius. This setup lets him strike anything within range without spatial confinement, showing off his mastery and making his domain look barrierless. Moving on, let's talk about this crazy Sukuna Easter egg that was hidden right in the first chapter of the manga. Yep, you heard that right. If you check out the cover of chapter 1, you'll notice Sukuna's mummified body hidden in the background, a detail that wouldn't actually be revealed until almost 100 chapters later. But that's not all, because if you look really closely at the Shikigami frogs on Megumi's legs, you will spot tattoo-like markings that resemble Sukuna's own tattoos. This was an early hint at Sukuna eventually taking over Megumi's body several chapters later, which is just an insane level of detail most fans probably missed. Speaking of insane details, did you notice that in Sukuna's original form, he doesn't have claws, but when he's in Yuji's body, we clearly see claws in some panels. So, what's going on? Well, turns out, Gege occasionally forgets to draw Sukuna's claws, leading to this small inconsistency in his design. While Sukuna's tattoos are really cool, did you know they actually have hidden meanings behind them? For instance, the marking on his forehead resembles a yokai spider symbol, hinting he might have belonged to a rebellious clan that defied social norms. His hand tattoos, which are similar to Akaza's from Demon Slayer, are from the Irezumi Kei, a punishment marking criminals in places like Nara, symbolizing a past of rebellion or wrongdoing, while his face tattoos follow old Japanese traditions, where face markings often indicate serious crimes, suggesting Sukuna's past was filled with a lot of darkness. Before we go into the biggest plot armor in the show, if you're having a great time so far and want to be entered in our shoutout giveaway, simply subscribe, then comment "I subbed," and you will be entered. This shoutout giveaway goes to Keelan Benefield 626. Thanks for being part of the family. Let's get back to the plot armor. Did you know Sukuna was actually supposed to kill Yuji from the beginning of the show? During Sukuna's fight with Megumi, Sukuna ripped out Yuji's heart. According to Gege, Yuji wasn't meant to come back to life, but since Jujutsu Kaisen was becoming more and more popular, he decided to bring him back. Surprisingly, in the Jujutsu Kaisen fanbook, Gege revealed that Sukuna would have died with Yuji if he hadn't healed Yuji's heart. Next, have you ever wondered what Sukuna does while he's trapped inside Yuji's body? Gege mentioned that Sukuna just spaces out inside Yuji, but once he senses chaos, he rushes to his throne, striking a cool pose as he waits for someone to enter his domain. Did you know Sukuna isn't the most feared sorcerer? In an interview, Gege Akutami explained that while Sukuna was terrifying back in his day, Jutsu sorcerers and cursed spirits were overall more ruthless then. But over time, that intensity faded until Gojo's arrival. His power and presence reignited an unmatched level of fear in modern Jutsu society, making him a truly formidable force. Did you know Sukuna is inspired by a real figure from Japanese history? Ryomen Sukuna. He was a powerful leader known for his strength, 2 sets of arms and legs, and a complex legacy. However, the Yamato family sought to overthrow him through a hostile takeover. What is even cooler is the fact that Sukuna's domain is actually a reference to one of his shrines in Gifu, Japan, which remains open to the public. Speaking of cool, did you know Sukuna holds a unique record with his domain expansion? Unlike other sorcerers who use only one hand sign, Sukuna pulls off an abnormal move by using 2. In chapter 258, he even mimicked Gojo's hand sign to unleash his domain, making his double hand sign an impressive and surprising feat in Jujutsu Kaisen. And while Sukuna's double hand signs are undeniably cool, they carry hidden meanings too. His malevolent shrine hand sign, the king of hell in Buddhism, who is the Japanese version of Yama, ruler of the Deadland. Like Sukuna, Yama was once human but ultimately became a powerful figure in the afterlife. Now those were some insane secrets about Sukuna. But if you're ready for something even crazier, then check out this video where I watched Jujutsu Kaisen at 0.25 times speed and found some mind-blowing details you probably missed. Go on, click it!